Microphone toward.
Actually, I try not to read the press. I learned from them.
You learn from Jared. Let's start with how this thing came to light. A couple of members of your board said that you had been misusing funds of UCAN, and it got to the point where you decided to disband the organization and resign your position. Take us through those early parts of what has become a scandal for UCAN.
Yeah, let's start with the facts. And the facts are, I didn't create a rival organization. I didn't resign from UCAN. And the allegations about the so-called taking money from UCAN and all the other stuff that didn't have any facts behind it. What you are seeing is a very messy divorce. And you're seeing a very messy divorce amongst attorneys. And when that happens, allegations that are made are often strategic. They're often designed to create perceptions. But we challenged Mr. Aguirre, who was the lead, I guess he was the counsel for the two employees who were raising a lot of these questions.
That's Mike Aguirre, former city attorney.
We challenged him. We said, come on, bring us the facts. Give us some actual data to support the allegations. That never came.
So let's turn this around and talk about the coverage of this, because it's been widely reported in many organizations. You can start with whichever coverage you like, newspaper, radio, television. The initial coverage cited facts that you say are not facts.
Correct.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, J.W. August invited me to come to speak to you all, and he insisted that I needed to have grades. So I spent a fair amount of time working out a grade sheet. And I'm going to try to go by memory here. But I would say, in general, in terms of this story, I think there are two different types of grades because there are two different types of media coverage. One was print coverage, which has largely become electronic. One is what we'll call electronic media, which is also television, radio.
So traditional newspaper, which is
versus
morphed into website and tweeting and things like that, and then a broadcast media.
Exactly. So let's start with the traditional morphed into website. I would give it probably a C for effort. I'd probably give it a D for factual analysis, and probably an F for plays well with others. Very poorly behaved. In terms of the electronic media, television, radio, they tend to stay away from this story because it was so complex and it was so fraught with details that it was largely that I could see very little coverage. But then again, I hang out with Jerry Sanders in the evenings not watching the news, so I may have missed something. So those grades, I would say, were more along the lines of B and C as opposed to D and F.
Because they just skimmed the surface.
They just
All right,
stayed.
Let's go back then to the coverage, and it was mostly by Jeff McDonald of the UT.